Hello my friends, my name is Ellen and today I'm going to do a brief tutorial on this drawing that I did here. So starting with the supplies that I used, I always use a couple different mechanical pencils. These are like two different sizes, I think 0.5 and 0.3 maybe. And then I always have this mono eraser with me. It's like a really tiny eraser and it's retractable, so it kind of lasts a really long time. And my kneadable eraser, of course, that helps me like to soften things that are too dark. And my blending stumps or tortillions or whatever they're called. These are like the best thing ever. I just love them. I always have different sizes of them. And I use this little makeup brush to brush off any eraser shavings. And it's really important that you get the right kind of paper too, because if you're trying to do different kinds of drawings, you're going to use different kinds of paper. And so I can't stress this enough how important the right paper is going to be. I use the Strathmore Bristol Vellum Surface. It's smooth, but it has a little bit of tooth to it, and that's going to help you build and layer. So it's really, really important. I can't stress that enough. Paper matters. It's really important to always have your reference photo really close by. I like making mine roughly the same size so that I'm comparing back and forth, back and forth, and back and forth to try to get it as close of a match as possible. And I always try to make my reference, if I'm drawing in black and white, then I try to make my reference in black and white just so I can get the values down really well. It just makes it a little bit easier for me. Here, I had done so much on this drawing already, but I didn't think to start filming until I had gotten quite a lot done, and then I realized this might actually be valuable for somebody to hear and learn about some of these supplies and some of these techniques that I've learned along the way. I've been doing these for like 15 years or so, and never really shared a tutorial or sort of the process. And so if you like tutorials, if this is helpful to you at all, let me know and I will try to make more of these. But anyway, so if you can see, I'm just switching supplies. That's pretty much what I do the entire time. Is I'm using my pencil, and then I use a blending stump, and then I use an eraser, and then I use my pencil to refine it again, and then I use my eraser. And I'm just switching between all the supplies like the entire time. And the thing I really like about these blending stumps is that they make the shading nice and soft. And I know there's lots of different ways that people can shade, but this is just the way I do it. And it does take away some of the depth and the darkness of the pencil, so you just have to go over it again and then blend and then over and then blend. And of course you can go back over it if you need a really dark black with a charcoal or an actual black color pencil or something like that. Sometimes I've even used ink to get a really dark black, but I didn't really do that in this drawing because I really wanted it to be, I didn't want it to be super high contrast. I wanted it to be kind of soft because it's a 3-year-old little boy. And by the way, this is my friend's little boy. This is a commission. This is James, and he just beat cancer. And so let's just take a second and just like praise God, because we've been praying for that, and this is just such an exciting thing. He just beat leukemia, so that's just awesome. But I did this drawing for my friend because he has 4 boys, and this is the 3rd portrait that I've done for this family. That every time they turn 3, I do the drawing. So anyway, this little cutie, I ended up having to combine 4 different reference photos to try to get the right thing for these particular drawings for this family. He wanted me to do like they're posing with a prop of some sort that is a symbol of them, and his beads, so you'll see all the beads that he's holding, that is representative of his cancer fighting journey. Every single bead represented a treatment or just different parts of that. So that was a lot of details, and I'm not gonna lie, this thing took me 15 hours to draw. And so don't ever call me talented. I'm just extremely patient. You know what I mean? That's what I always think about art. If you're very, very patient, then you can make something look the way that you want to look, you know, just because you got to put the time in. Really, that's all it is. That, and you know, there's techniques which I'm trying to show you here, but if you look, like, I like this little skinny blending stump, and I soften some of these lines. I don't like showing lines on my work, and so I'm always trying to soften them and blend them into something else, because if you look at a picture, you're not seeing lines around the shapes of things. You're seeing values, you're seeing tones, you're seeing shapes, and so you're not seeing hard lines like a cartoon. So when it comes to these drawings, I like to do the best I can to kind of just soften. Not that I don't like the look of pencil lines, because I really do, but for this kind of thing, and especially if you're going for maybe realism, you're gonna want to soften those things and kind of blend them out. But notice I'm using a little piece of paper. That's because I've learned by my past mistakes not to put my hand right on the drawing, because I will smudge all that pencil, and I really hate when I do that. Right here, I thought I would blend all of this out, like I was just talking about the lines. I ended up erasing all this, so I don't know why I'm showing it, but I guess the point was that he had blonde hair, and he had all these pretty blonde curls, and I wanted you to be able to see them, and the only way to see them on a stark white paper is to create some shading behind there. But after I did all of that, I realized I just didn't like it. I didn't like the way it looked. That would mean I'd have to shade pretty much the entire background, and it just didn't look great, and so I did end up going and erasing it. But luckily this pencil, or the marks, were very light, so it was pretty easy to file, edit, undo. If only it was that easy. But no, it wasn't hard to just like erase what I did. But either way, so pretty much this is what I did for the entire drawing, is switch between my supplies, my little micro eraser, and my blending stump, and my different pencils, and just this is basically what you do the whole time. So again, I did not record the whole start of this, and drawing that the foundation is really, really important, and so I usually spend a lot of time getting it just right before I go in and spend a great deal of time blending it and erasing and doing all of that stuff. So if you want to see a tutorial on how to start a portrait, there are so many different ways to do that. I have tried many different ways. I just have never put that together. I usually just don't even think to start filming until I've done way too much. And so, but yeah, for the most part, this is finished, and I'm probably going to keep working at it just a little bit as long as I have it in my possession still. But either way, this is just about done, and I'm going to spray it with a fixative to protect it so that it doesn't smudge. But otherwise, this is it. Let me know if this was helpful at all, and if you want to know more, I'd be happy to share those things. I learned a lot of what I know from watching videos online and that kind of thing, and so I'm happy to share what I've learned. And yeah, thank you so much for watching and for sticking around. I'll see you on the next one.